And we are live. Welcome to another episode of Business Focus Live with me, John, where we'll talk about business related topics as well as news from here and around the world. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and let's get started. And we're back. Thank you again for joining me today. So today is May the 13th, 2023 on a Saturday evening. Uh, this week we'll be discussing some interesting things that's been going on. And then the first topic we'll be going discussing a major one at that. We're in Hollywood, makers of big films and such. The writers who makes those films are on strike, obviously due to financial concerns. It's not the first time that the Hollywood writers have been on strike, and it's not going to be the last time. Obviously, question is, what are the studios going to do and TV networks and whatnot? Because obviously, at the end of the day, without the writers who make the contents of whether it's TV series, TV shows, or even movies alike, are going to put a strain on the production. And obviously, time is gold, time is money. We're going to talk about which who's going to be affected with this dilemma here. Next is we'll be discussing, if you're a big fan of Disney or you frequently visit one of their main theme parks, in particular Disney World in Florida. Good news, you won't need to make a reservation because used to be, I was lucky enough to visit Disneyland in California last year, wherein you did had to make purchase a ticket and then make a separate reservation, and has to be both. Otherwise, you will not be allowed to enter the venue. So in this case, what necessitated the change? We'll take a look at that as well. In automotive news, and interesting, which is something I don't like, wherein a car manufacturer, in this case Mercedes, is trying to nickel and dime car owners in terms of, it all started obviously with Tesla trying to monetize not just the vehicles themselves, but in terms of how vehicles are going to be used moving forward, integrating more technology, more computer applications here, so that they can charge you a subscription fee, which is, I'm dead set against because of the many pitfalls that it does. And now Mercedes is along the same boat. So we'll take a look at that as well. Next is we'll talk. One of the interesting things that YouTube is partnering with is a streamer called SuperGaming. So is this a good collaboration? We'll take a look at that as well. And lastly, for some local news, a very interesting develop here in terms of, there were seen laptops that the governments bought for for education purposes for the teachers, of the many teachers that were affected since the pandemic. Obviously, with the advent of technology, you want to utilize it, and they've bought a plenty, and now it's been seen that's being sold for for cash, which means it's not used for its intended use. We'll take a look at that and what's going on with that as well. Anyway, so as mentioned, going back to our first topic, the main one at that is Hollywood writers are on strike here. So according to CNBC.com, it halts many of the production here, whether it's streaming, movies, or TV networks alike here. So some of the popular ones, you can see here, Stranger Things production has been halted. You have another one, Severance. I'm not familiar with that one. And then you also have the reboot of Blade, which is kind of iffy if it's going to do well, because obviously the Blade has been synonymous with Wesley Snipes' character. So how are they going to rehash that with who's going to play the lead role, and how's the story going to pan out here? So we have to wait and see. Now, it's not just Netflix streaming services. You also have Disney Plus and Apple TVs, and even Paramounts, just to name a few, where obviously the strike can affect the many TV networks, streaming services alike. due to, as you can see here, it says all this over less than 2% of billions in profit. So do better, Writers Guild on strike. And obviously, what the writers are clamoring, it's not this are significant, and yet the studios, the companies are shortchanging their employees, key employees at that, because they rely on their skills and talent to be able to produce good quality content, which is been coming far few in between. Uh, it's mentioned here that the members of the Writers Guild of America East hold signs as they walk on the picket line outside the Peacock New Front in New York City earlier May 2nd here. And obviously, it says more than 11,000 films and television writers who say their compensation doesn't match the revenue generated in the streaming era are on strike for the first time since 2008. And I was not necessarily lucky enough to be part of it, but I did remember that strike. Uh, at the time, it was still the Late Show with David Letterman was still airing at the time, and one of the interesting things of his show is he his writers is totally separate from the main Writers Guild. I think I could be wrong, when he was still able to produce shows while others were left to fend for themselves, in a sense that they had to halt production in many cases here. And as I mentioned earlier, one of the popular TV shows, Netflix, Stranger Things, has to be halted or wrapped up production. So more likely, as with previous instances, where either shows were delayed or going to be shortcutted in terms of, if it had, as I recall, used to be a TV series in the United States had 24 episodes, and when the writers went on strike, I think it was shortened either by half, 12 to 18 episodes. I think once they've able to rectify the situation here, and obviously that's going to hurt the big bucks that companies have invested heavily on many IPs that they need to launch, so that it gets a lot of eyeballs, people watching it, whether on the streaming or in movies alike here. The contention here, according to Writers Guild, is mentioned as seeking higher compensation and residuals, which I think the residual is much more significant than just the compensation. It mentions here particularly when it comes to streaming shows, as well as new rules that will require studios to staff television shows with a certain number of writers for a specific period. They also mention is seeking compensation throughout the process of pre-production, production, and post-production. As mentioned, currently writers are often expected to provide revisions or craft new materials without being paid, which is the difficult part of how do you scale their services. Is it based on from start to finish, or is it by iteration, or depending on what part of the process of the production is it going to be? And what's interesting, Amazon's Rings of Power have decided to continue filming without writers or showrunners on set. Others have opted to postpone production, which obviously the TV show, regardless if they continue with the Rings of Power, is not doing so well, and it's a disaster waiting to happen. Spending billions in investing those TV shows, or in this case, the IP of Lord of the Rings, and yet they squandered it by playing identity politics here and destroying the narrative or the source material, which is supposed to be the main plot point here. Another is Apple's drama series Severance has post production for its second season after members of its International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees and Teamsters refers to cross the Writers Guild Association picket line at New York York Studios in New York. So obviously there's a lot more. So you have Warner Brothers, Discovery streaming shows Hacks, Showtime's Billions, and stars The Venery of Samantha Bird all stop production altogether. And obviously there's our significant effects that's going to hamper the release of said schedule, and obviously it would depend on which one has to be released really soon, or will it be delayed. And obviously the succeeding films moving forward would be have to push to give way to other films that has been delayed for said release. And I think the question of matter is how long is the strike going to last? And obviously, the more that the studios delay, the more money that's going to be wasted here in terms of not being finished, having a finished product and being able to release for general consumption here. So we'll see as to how long that will that last here. Anyway, next is we're talking about Disney's popularity, even though its stream services is abysmal and the movies that been they've been releasing lately has been terrible at late. But their IPs, the older IPs, that's why their theme park has still been a big source of revenue for the company because of its nostalgia. People still like to visit the one of the happiest place or the happiest place on earth as of today still. And but one of the many instances problems that you will encounter if you're trying to visit the place used to be due to the pandemic. You had to not just buy the ticket and also make a reservation, which can be cumbersome. And luckily, when we did that, I was thinking of changing my reservations. Luckily, I didn't, because if you were to cancel that reservation, let's say on that day, and move to another day, especially if it's a peak season holiday that we went, you might not get a chance to visit it. So the ticket would be wasted, which is kind of stupid if you think about it, because once you bought the ticket, based on the said date, shouldn't that be a guarantee of your appearance of that said date, or at least given that within that week, plus minus several days of that dates. But anyway, so which is good news for many travelers and visitors of the theme parks here. So according to CNBC, it mentions that Disney is nixing its reservation requirements at Florida parks, adding back dining plans here. Now, obviously, the experience is what's keeping people coming back. Obviously, the rides, the people that you interact with, not just with your family members but with other visitors, and also the theme park in itself, especially in Florida. I haven't been to Disney World, but obviously it has several theme parks attached to one another, and it'll take you days or even weeks to be able to visit it completely. And obviously having this a little bit of nuance, if you think about it, of having to make reservations and you're tied to that reservations and you cannot change plans midway, can be problematic here. Now, this prompted the change because of the guest feedback. So this is no longer requiring reservation for date-based ticket at its Disney World resorts in Orlando, Florida. What's interesting also, they're reinstating, as mentioned, the dining plans for hotel guests and extending early park hours through 2024. Now, being able to visit the park has to be strategic, and you want to be there at rope drop, meaning before I would say before the theme park. The theme park will open at 8, but they will not let you into the different rides. That's why there's a rope in front of you that's stopping you from going to the different rides. So you want to be there early so that you get first dibs at the many rides, and you get to maximize typically the first 2 hours of your experience, which what I found out doing some research. And when we were there, and we spent about 4 days at both parks, 2 days in Disneyland, and then another 2 days at Disney California Adventure, which is a worthwhile investment. Obviously, tickets and spending food eating there can be costly, but that's part of the experience anyhow. Anyway, then they also mentioned that Disney plans to address concerns with its Genie and Genie Plus itinerary programs, which were launched during the pandemic. Now, I think one of the big advantages of using Genie Plus is being able to make reservations to make it easier, not just for the rides, but for when eating with family members. Obviously, can get hectic and limited slots if you don't plan ahead. Obviously, the fast pass, I think, is a key component there, where you spend a little bit more. I think $20, $25, I forgot. If you spend a little bit more, you get shorter queuing line in the rides, and I think we should have gotten it, but I didn't know at the time. But we weren't in a hurry because we had several days to spend in the theme park, and we were able to maximize the early part of the day, but the afternoon was abysmal because of the long queuing line. Especially, I remember when we were at DCA, we were trying to ride Radiator Springs. Took several hours before we got to the line in front of the ride, and it was a worthwhile adventure. But I won't recommend it if you're very impatient or if you have limited time, visiting the theme parks there. So that wasn't the case for us, but for others could be a big issue there. But it should be a must visit for many visitors there. Anyway, so they mentioned that the update is to accommodate both local and out of town visitors, according to the company here. And obviously, the name of the game is to satisfy customer satisfaction. Otherwise, you want to piss off the people that's paying big bucks to visit your place, or even repeat visits of your place, not just one time, but sometime in the future. And obviously, it's a big cash cow for the company here, which is good news. Anyway, segueing as mentioned to automotive, we were discussing earlier regarding Mercedes Benz plan to conquer the world by copying what Tesla is doing by offering software services and asking you to pay for a monthly fee to be able to use those updates, which is why I'm never buying an electric vehicle because of this. I won't say a stupid feature, but a dangerous feature that people might think it's a good idea to consider. Now, that may happen decades or centuries later, but I don't think as of the moment that the benefits of integrating a computer software application in your vehicle is detrimental to the experience. Now, if it's super convenient, then I think it would make sense in the future. But as of right now, I don't see the point, which is pretty scary if you think about it. So let's take a look at what the Mercedes is planning to do here. So according to techspot.com, Mercedes wants EV buyers or electric vehicle buyers to get used to paywall features. So think about it. In games, you're asked to pay a monthly fee for subscription. You have streaming services asking you for monthly subscription. Even now, vehicles wants to. So if you don't pay for this feature, you can't use those vehicles. Then what's the point of owning the vehicle? So technically, you don't own the vehicles anymore if that's the case here. So you're just technically renting the vehicle. So let's see what the details here. So car companies want to make billions by charging recurring fees for nice to have features in their vehicles. Some of which are physically present at the time you purchase them, which is, I think, that should be a requirement. But most consumers aren't biting. But that doesn't mean this trend is going away anytime. So, which is kind of concerning, if you ask me. In the case of Mercedes, it is willing to adjust its pricing in small steps until enough customers fall into the trap to call it a success, which is a paltry strategy because obviously they're waiting how much of the gray line they are willing to push, that they can push, that people or the consumers are not going to complain, because if there's a big backlash, they would stop that bad practice. But obviously other companies have already started doing this and have made tremendous inroads, like Tesla, to name a few. Obviously others are trying to follow suit here. Let's see what they're trying to do here. So the company wanted to squeeze more money out of customers in some countries for optional features like heated seats, which is supposed to be a given, especially in winter climate regions. High beam assist or heated steering wheel shouldn't that be included in the service? So why should we pay for a monthly fees for them? And if you're not going to offer them, then charge us a lower fee for the vehicle. And how are they going to do that? Because it would encourage people to tinker with the vehicle, which could be detrimental to your brand, which is obviously, if it's software related, can be hacked, which is another issue altogether here. What's interesting, notably, this was just a few years, short years after a failed attempt to convince BMW fans to pay for using Apple CarPlay, which is supposed to be a free feature, right? I think if they're going to make a compelling case of what features should pay for us monthly fee, it's very difficult to make that case because a vehicle has to be utilitarian. I mean, you pay for the ancillaries that's going to make your life easier, not make difficult. And if that's going to be offered there, you're going to look for another vehicle, another car manufacturer that's going to offer the same things, even at a cheaper price. Meaning you pay a one-shot fee rather than pay in, I don't know, installment, that what they're calling the monthly fees, which I don't see the point here. And obviously this only benefits the manufacturers to improve their bottom line. And obviously, as a consumer like myself, aren't thrilled to about the idea of paying more for features that are already in place at the time of purchasing the vehicle. And which is why I think the government has to step in if that were to be the case here, because if it's already in there, then it should be utilized. Imagine your phones, your desktops, your computers are being hampered, locked in, unless you pay for a certain fee there. And if they're going to do that, then why even buy their products altogether, right? It's not even compelling anymore. So that you can unlock full performance according to Mercedes, and it's asking for you to pay as much, not a significant amount, but nonetheless, $1,200 for an annual fee for full performance for its EQ luxury electric vehicle, which is what's the whole point, right? And here's the thing, software can be problematic, can be buggy, and if there's a problem, can we sue the company if that were to happen, if that were to cause any crashes or incidents because of, let's say, sudden disruptions of the vehicle, which we still don't know what the side effects of that, where you integrate so heavily modded software, uh, vehicles with traditional engine, combustible engine, would that have any harmful effects to drivers? I mean, we still don't know, right? That's why I don't want to be the guinea pig to be using those vehicles in the first place, and wait for things to occur. Now, what's interesting here is what are the services being offered here. So let's take a closer look here. So the interest in subscription required connected services. Obviously, internet is number one. Remote control access functions by a smartphone. Not really. I mean, I don't know if you need internet because you have your smartphones already, right? Stream video directly to the center infotainment. Now, why would we do that? Now, that's not for the driver, that's for the passengers' benefit here. And then hazard notification with rerouting. I think that should be embedded already. Browse the internet directly to the center. Again, it should be embedded. You have remote control of your. Why would you need to control home? Unless you're trying to open your garage door to get in and out of the house. Play video games, sharing of driving behavior data. Why would I give them more information than necessary? Which is one of the concerning things here. Obviously, data collected could be used. You can use it or can be used against you in the future here, especially like in the case of insurance. How, what type of driving behaviors do you have? Are you going to have a higher premium of insurance or lower premium of insurance? Partake in video conferencing. And as you can see here, many of the information here, or the details that's being asked here, should be embedded already, because if that's not the case, imagine in your smartphones, in your computers, the laptops or desktop, it's not built into the feature, then no one would buy it anyhow. And unless consumers, have are not okay with this implementation, then obviously companies will become more bolder in terms of applying this said features, which is, I hope that never happens anytime soon here. But only time can tell here if that's the case here. Anyway, segueing now to gaming, as mentioned earlier, we have YouTube is now partnering with a what do you call this? Partnering with a content creator, in this case, SuperGaming. So in order to boost its gaming content creators, in particular in India. So let's take a look here. So according to techtimes.com, Super Gaming and YouTube partners for the Indus Insider Program or IIP to empower creators, which I think should be even encouraged even more. Obviously, this is trying to compete with Twitch, which is their bread and butter in that platform as well. Now, I'm not a streamer, so it's not my cup of tea. But obviously, there's a market for those contents, and YouTube has been late to the game for that part. And obviously, monetizing, being able to as content creators, being able to monetize your content is integral. Obviously, not just profitability for the platform, but also profitability for the content creators here. So it mentions the Super Game is gearing up to launch the highly anticipated Battle Royale Indus on Google Play Store. Through this venture, the Indian game developer seeks to empower content creators to uncover UGC opportunities and grow their community. Recently launched Indus Insiders Content Creators program is at the core of the partnership. This program will aim to recognize and nurture talent among Indian gaming content creators with the help of YouTube's vast resources and experts as well. Obviously, the sheer number of the population, which has already surpassed China, obviously the growing demand, and obviously the rise in technology is a big boon for any technology company. That's why a lot of companies trying to move in to position themselves, and obviously YouTube is one of those. And obviously the online platform YouTube is still king, I think, as of as of this discussion. And question is how much of the revenue will be generated going towards to those content creators. Will it be a significant amount that will entice more and more Indians to participate in the platform in terms of its partner program here? And what's interesting here is YouTube will offer education workshops exclusively for selected creators to give further insights into growing their presence on the platform. Now, to apply for the Indus Insiders program, applicants must complete a form before April 25th, so it already has passed. On its part, Super Game is also working on bringing some exciting content. What the heck is it? Exciting content. What the heck is it? It skipped. Ayun, on the table, it focuses on creating intuitive and engaging experiences within the game to draw in even more gamers and content. And obviously, more content creators from India becomes popular. Obviously, more and more Indians will watch their content, which obviously enhances the popularity of the YouTube platform here, competing with the likes of TikTok here. Now, what they're planning to do is make custom-made avatars, so to unlock creative possibilities in Indus. Now, we have to wait and see if that feature is going to benefit in the long run. Giving content creators growth opportunity, I think that's a good plus sign. Exclusive guidance and support for content creators, I think, is a must here, and helping them succeed obviously helps the platform succeed in the long run here by creating more potential content creators and viewers alike here. Anyway, I think that's about it for this week. Let's see. I think we have one more topic. Almost skipped that one. And if our last topic, some local news as mentioned earlier, we were discussing how our government here in the Philippines is having some dilemmas here. I mean, we've discussed it in the past that procuring technologies, in particular laptops, to help our education, particular the classes, having online or hybrid setup, to be able to be used by the teachers that needs them to teach effectively with their students. Well, lo and behold, I was surprised to find out in this particular article that those laptops that's supposed to be disseminated to the different schools, faculties, and whatnot, has now gone missing and has propped up in the most unlikeliest place, which is being sold currently. So, according to Rappler.com, the DepEd's laptop is now for sale, which is not a good thing. So, what the heck? Opposition lawmakers from the Makabayan bloc cite Rappler's investigative reports on the sale of DepEd laptops in retail stores. What the heck? Progressive lawmakers at the House of Representatives formally sought an investigation into the fire sale in retail and online stores of DepEd's laptops intended for public school teachers, which is kind of sad if that were the case. The three-member Makabayan filed House, citing their two-part series. The first part is uh, negligence, corruption lead to fire sale of the laptops was mentioned. The second part is the tiny logistics firm bag 666 million pesos and fails to deliver. So meaning uh, the citizens paid for that to be used for the education of our students, future students, and for, used to be our teacher to be used by our teachers is now going to be sold, and who's going to benefit from those? Which is kind of frustrating if you're a citizen here. It was mentioned here, an investigation is important because our teachers are badly need the laptops now. The DepEd has already once tricked into procuring yeah, I almost forgot. They bought an overpriced laptop because you could haggle for cheaper laptops, and now corrupt individuals in the DepEd are making a profit out of it. Which is the sad fact is, those who are those people should be held accountable because obviously the main issue here is people who's done wrong to the country should be held liable to higher standard because obviously holding power or having position in our country can be detrimental. You're supposed to serve the country, not use it to your own benefit here, which it's a never ending saga here. And question is, it's not just this. There are other issues with the vaccination and whatnot. But this is caught my attention, which hopefully will be put to good use and rather than be sold for someone's individual benefit in this situation here. Kind of disappointed if you think about it, but hopefully this can be rectified rather than let it linger. Anyway, that's it for this week. Come back again on Saturday. Sorry for the confusion in the scheduling as of yet. I'm trying to find the right schedule for doing these live streams. But anyway, if you're just joining in, so thank you for watching the content. If you find this content enjoyable, entertaining, or informative at that, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to help continue supporting and grow the channel as well. If you have any questions, leave your comments down below and I'll try to get back to you. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Wait, the heck is it?